This video contains a truth that has changed the lives of many people. If you are having health problems and have ever felt stuck, please subscribe to the channel and leave a comment in the comment section so we can share useful knowledge together. Have you ever taken a sip of your favorite coffee, added a packet of sweetener, and thought, is this actually better for me than sugar, or am I just fooling myself? You're not alone. If you're over 60, you've probably seen sugar go from the sweet star of the kitchen to public enemy number one. And now, it's been replaced by a whole army of sugar substitutes, each claiming to be healthier, safer, or diabetic-friendly. But the truth is, not all sweeteners are created equal, especially for seniors. So today, let's sit down, just you and me, and clear up the confusion once and for all. We're going to talk about sugar substitutes in a way that actually makes sense. No confusing chemistry talk, no fear tactics. Just the plain truth with real-life advice you can use starting today. Whether you're managing diabetes, watching your weight, or simply trying to make smarter choices, this video will help you understand what sweeteners work best for your body and which ones could be quietly making things worse. And hey, before we dive in, take a moment and share in the comments what medical conditions you're managing right now. Whether it's high blood pressure, joint pain, or just general fatigue, I'd love to hear from you and offer specific tips that can make your life easier. This is a safe space, and you're not going through it alone. Now let's get started by talking about why this even matters. As we age, our bodies become more sensitive to certain ingredients, especially sugar. It affects everything from blood sugar to brain fog, from energy levels to inflammation in our joints. And while many of us try to cut back, we often replace sugar with something else, without knowing what that something actually is. That's where the danger creeps in quietly. Let's start with the most popular sweetener out there, aspartame. You'll find it in those little blue packets on diner tables, in diet sodas, sugar-free yogurts, and dozens of low-calorie snacks. It's been around for decades and marketed as the solution for people with diabetes, or anyone trying to lose weight. But here's the catch. In some people, especially older adults, aspartame has been linked to headaches, mood swings, dizziness, and even memory issues. Now, does that mean it's poison? Not necessarily. Some folks can tolerate it just fine. But if you're experiencing brain fog or mood changes and using aspartame daily, it might be worth cutting back for a few weeks and seeing how you feel. Sometimes your body gives you quiet signals, you just need to know how to listen. Now let's move to the yellow packet, sucralose, better known as Splenda. You'll see it in everything from sugar-free cookies to protein shakes. It's extremely sweet, doesn't affect blood sugar much, and holds up well in cooking. Sounds perfect, right? Well, here's the thing. Some recent studies suggest that sucralose may impact gut health. And your gut isn't just about digestion, it affects your immunity, energy, and even mental clarity. When you're over 60, your gut naturally becomes more sensitive. So if you're using sucralose every day and struggling with bloating, indigestion, or feeling off in your stomach, that sweetener might be quietly disrupting your internal balance. At this point, you might be wondering, so what can I use? Don't worry, we're getting there. But before we talk about healthier swaps, let's touch on another one that sneaks into more foods than you think, saccharin. The little pink packet that's been around since the 1950s. It's one of the oldest artificial sweeteners, and while it's generally considered safe in small amounts, it can leave a bitter aftertaste and sometimes irritate the bladder or cause digestive upset in sensitive individuals. If you've noticed any strange discomfort after drinking diet soda or low-calorie Jell-O, saccharin could be the sneaky culprit behind it. What's important to understand here is that sugar substitutes are not one-size-fits-all. What works beautifully for your neighbor might be terrible for you. And in our senior years, our bodies react more strongly to chemicals, additives, and shifts in blood sugar. That's why understanding your own body and how it responds to different sweeteners is so crucial. But here's the good news. You don't have to give up sweetness to stay healthy. There are better, gentler, and more natural options that your body may thank you for. But the first step is becoming aware. Awareness is power. And you're already ahead of the game just by being here and listening. I'll tell you a quick story. A patient of mine will call her Margaret choose to drink 3 cups of coffee a day, each with 2 packets of aspartame. She didn't think twice about it. But over the years, she began feeling anxious, scattered, and more forgetful. Her doctors blamed aging. But when she cut out aspartame and switched to a more natural option, her clarity improved within weeks. It wasn't magic, it was just one small change. That's how powerful these little things can be. So if you're using any of those artificial sweeteners, whether it's in your tea, your cereal, or your morning smoothie, start paying attention to how your body feels afterward. Are you energized or sluggish? Do you feel light or bloated? Do you sleep better or worse? The answers are already in you. Let's take a moment now. Think about what you had this morning. Was there sweetener in your coffee, your oatmeal, or your toast spread? Did it make you feel nourished or kind of empty and tired? That little awareness is the beginning of something better. And remember, your health journey doesn't have to be about deprivation. It's about making choices that help you feel your best every day, not just someday. You deserve sweetness in your life. We just want it to be the kind that lifts you up, not brings you down. Now that we've unpacked the most common artificial sweeteners and how they might be affecting your body without you even realizing it, let's move on to some alternatives that are not only safer, but might actually support your health in surprising ways. Have you ever stood in the grocery aisle, squinting at the back of a label, thinking, okay, but what even is erythritol? You're not alone, and you shouldn't need a chemistry degree just to enjoy a cup of tea with a bit of sweetness. So let's keep going. We've already talked about the importance of understanding sugar substitutes and why they matter more as we age. Now let's dig a little deeper into the sweet stuff that's quietly working its way into your daily routine, often without you even realizing it. Let's talk about artificial sweeteners. These are the ones that often get the most buzz, and not always in a good way. Think of names like aspartame, sucralose, and saccharin. You've seen them in those little blue, yellow, and pink packets at diners and coffee shops for decades. They're popular because they're super sweet, some hundreds of times sweeter than sugar, and they don't add any calories. Sounds like a win, right? Well, not so fast. For seniors, the story isn't just about cutting calories. It's also about how your body handles what you put in it. Over time, artificial sweeteners have raised questions about their impact on gut health, insulin response, and even long-term cognitive function. While the FDA considers most of them safe in moderation, research is still evolving, and so is your body. As we age, our metabolism, our digestion, even the way we taste food can shift. So what felt harmless at 40 might hit a little different at 70. One of the concerns I hear often is this: but I've been using these sweeteners for years. Is it too late to change? The answer is no, it's never too late. In fact, your body is incredibly resilient. And the good news is, you've got options. That's what makes this conversation so empowering. You get to decide what sweetener fits your life, your health needs, and your personal tastes, not just follow what's trendy or convenient. So now let's sweeten the deal and look at something people are getting really curious about lately: sugar alcohols. And no, despite the name, they don't actually contain alcohol. These include things like xylitol, sorbitol, and erythritol. You'll find them in everything from sugar-free gum to protein bars to diabetic-friendly ice cream. At first glance, they seem like a dream. They taste sweet, they don't spike your blood sugar much, and they have fewer calories than regular sugar. But for many older adults, there's a hidden downside: digestive trouble. I mean real bloating, gas, and sometimes even diarrhea, especially if you consume more than your body can comfortably handle, which, for most people over 60, might be a lot less than you'd think. So here's a little tip that goes a long way. If you see anything on a label that ends in "ol," proceed with caution. Try a small amount first and see how your body reacts. That sugar-free cookie might taste great, but if it keeps you up all night with stomach cramps, it's probably not worth it. What about natural sweeteners? Now we're getting into territory that feels a bit more comforting. Things like stevia and monk fruit are plant-based, calorie-free, and don't seem to mess with blood sugar levels. Sounds almost too good to be true, right? In this case, it might not be. Stevia, for example, comes from the leaves of a plant that's been used for centuries in South America. It's become a go-to for many people trying to cut back on sugar. while still satisfying that sweet tooth. And monk fruit, same idea, naturally sweet, no calories, and generally well tolerated. But and here's the catch, not all stevia or monk fruit products are created equal. Many of the natural sweeteners you find on shelves are mixed with other ingredients, like maltodextrin or dextrose, which do affect blood sugar, even though the label still says 0 calorie. And if you're not checking that ingredient list, you might be taking in more than you realize. So how do you know what's really safe? My advice: look for sweeteners labeled as pure stevia extract or monk fruit extract. Fewer ingredients, fewer surprises. And when in doubt, ask your doctor, especially if you're managing diabetes, high blood pressure, or kidney issues. Your health plan should include your taste buds too. And don't underestimate the power of simply retraining your palate. You see, when we eat less sugar or sweet things in general, our taste buds gradually adjust. What seemed bland at first can actually become pleasantly sweet with time. It's not about depriving yourself, it's about rediscovering flavor. You might even find that a slice of apple or a few fresh berries feel like a treat again. And that, my friend, is real progress. Now I know, some of you might be thinking, okay, but I've got a sweet tooth that's been with me longer than most of my furniture. What am I supposed to do with that? And I get it. Sugar cravings don't vanish just because you hit a certain age, but they can be managed. And one of the most powerful tools isn't in your pantry, it's in your daily habits. Hydration, sleep, and balanced meals all play a role in how strong those cravings hit. Sometimes your body isn't even asking for sugar, it's asking for rest, or comfort, or connection. So the next time a craving strikes, pause for a moment, take a sip of water, ask yourself how you're feeling. You might be surprised by the answer. And if you do decide to indulge, try to do it mindfully. One square of dark chocolate savored slowly can be far more satisfying than an entire cookie eaten distractedly. It's not about being perfect, it's about being aware. Let me say this loud and clear. You don't have to give up sweetness to take care of your health, but you do deserve to know what's going into your body and how it makes you feel. That's what real power looks like. Not denial, but informed choice. Not fear, but confidence. And remember, this is your journey. You get to write the rules. If something works for your neighbor, but leaves you feeling sluggish or bloated, that's not your failure. That's your body telling you the truth. So listen to it, trust it, and honor it by making choices that help you feel your best, not just today, but for all the sweet years still ahead. All right, let's finish strong. We've covered the artificial sweeteners, the sugar alcohols, and the natural options like stevia and monk fruit. But we haven't yet talked about a few other sweeteners that might be sitting quietly in your pantry, maybe even in your daily cup of coffee. Let's start with honey, maple syrup, and agave. These are often seen as natural or better because they aren't as processed as white sugar. And sure, they do have a few trace nutrients or antioxidants, but here's the honest truth. Your body still treats them like sugar. Whether it's honey from a local beekeeper or agave from a fancy bottle, these sweeteners still raise your blood sugar, still add calories, and still impact things like weight, energy levels, and insulin sensitivity. For seniors, especially those managing diabetes or metabolic concerns, natural doesn't always mean neutral. That doesn't mean you have to toss them out entirely. If you truly love the flavor of a little real maple syrup on your oatmeal, and it fits within your health goals, go for it. The key, as always, is moderation and intention. Think of these sweeteners as flavor enhancers, not everyday essentials. 1 teaspoon can go a long way if you give yourself time to actually taste it. Here's a mindset shift that can make a real difference. Instead of asking, "How can I sweeten this?" try asking, "What flavor does this need?" Sometimes it's a pinch of cinnamon. Sometimes it's a splash of vanilla. Sometimes it's a squeeze of lemon. And sometimes it's nothing at all. This shift can actually bring food back to life in ways sugar never could. Because when your taste buds aren't constantly overloaded with sweetness, they start noticing the little things again, like the tartness of a fresh berry, the warmth of roasted nuts, or the richness of unsweetened cocoa. Now, before we wrap up, let's talk about long-term success, because let's be honest, information alone isn't enough. What you need is a plan that feels doable and sustainable, especially in your 60s, 70s, and beyond. Here are 5 simple tips that make navigating sweeteners easier every single day. Tip number 1. Read the whole label. Not just the front of the box where it says sugar-free or keto-friendly. Flip it over. Look at the ingredient list, not just the nutrition facts. If you see a long list of unpronounceable chemicals or anything ending in "ol," pause and reconsider. Tip number 2. Start slow. Don't overhaul your entire diet overnight. If you're switching from sugar to stevia, start by blending them 50/50ths for a few days. Let your palate adjust naturally. This way, it won't feel like punishment, it'll feel like progress. Tip number 3. Watch for the sneaky sugars. Manufacturers are smart. They'll use dozens of names for sugar: maltose, dextrose, cane juice, rice syrup. The list goes on. Just remember, if it ends in "O's" or syrup, treat it as sugar, no matter how fancy it sounds. Tip number 4. Pay attention to how you feel. Keep a journal for a week. Write down what sweeteners you're using and how you feel afterward. Bloating, brain fog, energy crash. Sometimes your body knows before your brain does. Let it be your guide. Tip number 5. Give yourself grace. This isn't about perfection. It's about awareness. It's about making informed choices, not rigid rules. If you enjoy a slice of pie at your granddaughter's birthday party, enjoy it fully and move on without guilt. One sweet moment doesn't define your health journey. So, here's the big picture. As we get older, our bodies don't need less care, they need more. More attention, more nourishment, more respect. And that includes how we handle sugar and sweeteners. You deserve to feel good. You deserve to wake up clear-headed, energized, and proud of the choices you're making. Not deprived, not confused, and definitely not stuck in a cycle of sugar crashes. And let me say this, you're not too old to change. You're not too late. You're not behind. You're right on time. Sweeteners might seem like a small thing, but they're part of a bigger story. A story about reclaiming your health, honoring your body, and living with intention. Whether you choose stevia, monk fruit, or just cut back a little each day, you're making progress. And that deserves to be celebrated. So the next time someone offers you something sugar-laden and says, "Come on, live a little," you can smile and say, I'm living a lot, and I'm doing it on my terms." If this video helped you make sense of sugar substitutes, give it a thumbs up and share it with someone you care about. You never know who needs this kind of information right now. And if you've got questions, stories, or favorite sweetener tips, drop them in the comments below. Let's keep learning together. Until next time, stay strong, stay curious, and stay sweet.